With reference to the above statement, evaluate 5 broad guidelines your board might formulate. 5 broad guidelines your board might formulate. Part C, comment on the observations made by some directors of NHL that the directors of MPL, a subsidiary company, are earning more in allowances than those of the parent company. So you have your subsidiary, and this subsidiary, of course, has its own board. So it has its own directors. And those directors happen to be paying themselves more in terms of allowances compared to what the parent company directors are paying themselves. So we have the some of the parent directors who are complaining. They are saying that this is our company. This is our company. MPL is our company. It's our subsidiary. How can we have the directors of our subsidiaries earning more, earning more, earning more? This is quite an important one. D, citing reasons, suggest 4 agenda items to be discussed at the planned 3-day consultative session of the directors of both NHL and MPL, which should lead to shared understanding between the 2 boards. Remember, already there's quite of a bad blood between the directors of the parent and the directors of who? The subsidiary. So, and as such, we need to have some consultative meeting. So what are some of the key issues that we should be able to raise in this kind of a meeting to ensure that we shall be able to work in harmony as boards of these 2 companies? Because at the end of the day, we want to protect the interest of the group. We would want the group objectives to be met. The moment you have the board of company A and the board of company B, and the 2 companies, ladies and gentlemen, are related, those 2 boards fighting, then automatically we shall be having a problem. We shall be having a problem. We shall be having a problem there. We will not be able to enjoy what we call synergy. Ladies and gentlemen, remember, we normally acquire businesses so that we can ride on their strengths to even build more wealth for their shareholders. But the moment the acquired companies start fighting with us, we shall not be able to enjoy the synergy. We shall not be able to enjoy the synergy, the concept of 1 + 1 equals 3, equals 3. We go to the next thing here. That is E. We are reading the requirement for those who have just joined us. E, with reference to consumer protection and the sustainability of the business of MPL, the subsidiary. Analyze 3 categories of the triple bottom line measures. The triple bottom line measures, what we call the 3 P's. The 3 P's. 3 P's. Triple, bottom line measures. Very important. That, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to performance, reporting of performance, you should always strive as a company to make a report in the form of what here? The 3 P's. The 3 P's, as we shall be seeing them, of course you know them. We have the first one, the historical one, which is profit. The profit. Number 2, we must talk about what here? The planet. And then number 3, we must talk about the people. 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 Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's important that you rename yourselves. It's important that you rename yourselves so that we can get to know who has paid us and who has not paid us. So ensure that the way you have come into Zoom, you've come into Zoom using the name, using your name and the phone number, using your name and the phone number, using your name and the phone number. So please do that. I'll give you like 30 minutes or even 40 minutes. Let me increase that time for you to try to navigate ways of how you can rename yourself. There is a button there where you're supposed to click on so that we can get to know who you are. We don't want to call you by your phone nick. Yeah, it's important we get to know you. It's important we get to Very good. Very good. Very good. We are trying to understand the question. We are trying to understand the question. Any case question, ladies and gentlemen, always start any case question by reading the requirement. The requirement. The requirement. So we have Roman 2, which is quite common in your exams. They want us to give them the 7 basic consumer rights that MPL should be aware of. Consumer rights that the company should be aware of. I don't know whether you have covered this particular topic of the subtopic of consumer rights. Is there somebody among us here who is able to list to us? Give us a list of, say, 3 consumer rights. Give us a list of 3 consumer rights. In the comments there, if you have done this in your school, give us any 3 rights of consumers that you are aware of. Any 3 rights of consumers that you are aware of. Rights of consumers that you are aware of. I want to mark for you. Any 3 rights of consumers that you guys are aware of. Any 3. I always thank my God because of the kind of audience he normally gives me. He gives me students who are very, very aggressive. Very aggressive. Right? Yeah. Fair price. Fair price. Great. Any other? Quality goods. I'm just listening first. Listening first. I'm listening for us to be able to give a response to your answers. Thank you very much for participating. Just participate. Even if you're not very sure, just participate. Write something there. The rights of consumers. Rights of consumers. Rights of consumers. The rights of consumers. Rights of consumers. Rights of consumers. Rights of consumers, ladies and gentlemen. Any other person who has did something there? Ladies and gentlemen, the number 1 right of consumers is the right to satisfaction. That's number 1 right. That right you should never forget. That the moment you buy this kind of a class, you've got a right, a key fundamental right, ladies and gentlemen, which is enshrined, which most of these companies are able even to put on their website, is that the moment we sell to you a product or a service, of course, you must have been having a need for it. And that need has to be satisfied. If it's not satisfied, then if it's not satisfying you, the service you're offering or the product you've sold to you is not satisfying your need, then we are thieves as companies. So the right to what here? Satisfaction. Ladies and gentlemen, we have what we call right to information. Right to information. Right to information. So we need to inform you. So if, for example, it's RCM Online College, we had scheduled a class, for example, today at 7, and we are not able to hold it at exactly 7, perhaps we change it to another day, we have to inform you quite well in advance. Otherwise, if we don't do that, then we are infringing on your right. That is your right to information, right to information. And that is why if you go to websites of very serious companies, you always get companies talking about their products extensively. Like if it is Safaricom, if you're looking at the various types of, for example, bundles that you can buy, they've given you all those services there. And of course, in this case, even went further to describe each service in detail, telling you that this particular platform, or rather this service you're buying, has got this limit. This one here doesn't have any limit, etc. So right to information is key. Right to information is key. Ladies and gentlemen, customers have a right of choice. A right of choice. And that is why you get so many people outside here crying over what Kenya Power is doing. The government is not giving consumers an opportunity of making a choice. That if I feel Kenya Power is not doing the very best things for me, I need, in this case here, to have an alternative. And that is why the government has formed what we call competition authority. Competition authority, because they would want to give customers or rather consumers, many alternatives. When we have got many alternatives, competing firms like these, at the end of the day, the consumer's right to making a choice, to choose, will be enshrined, will be protected. Once we have these companies, ladies and gentlemen, here fighting between themselves, then at the end of the day, the consumer will be the ultimate beneficiary, So we'll be looking at this, but generally, for example, we have what we call the right to redress. If we have offered a service to you and you feel that this thing is not very nice, this product is not very nice, is not, for example, satisfying me, when you come over here, we have to listen to you and try as much as we can to handle your problem, to solve your problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we have what we call the right to consumer representation. Perhaps at the board level, and that is where you will get like circles. Circle members are the ones who will volunteer themselves during elections, and then they are voted for. They become part of the board. Consumer representation. Consumer interests must always, in this case here, be what here heard. Then we have what we call the right to consumer what here, the right to consumer education. That is where you will get, if you are a member of a circle, you will get like every 6 months, these people will normally hold educational days where they have you there as their consumers, and they get to educate you. They'll tell you that when you guarantee somebody a loan, that is as good as taking the loan yourself. If this person you guaranteed a loan defaults, if he runs away, what will happen? You as the guarantor will have your shares reduced automatically to cover for the loan that this person has defaulted, which you guarantee. So we have what we call the right to education, which is different to right to information. They're different. Ladies and gentlemen, we have what we call the right to what here? Safety. Right to safety. And that is why you see serious companies, whenever, for example, they have slippery floors. If you go to a bank, a serious bank that has got, for example, these ceramic tiles down there, they'll always warn you. They'll tell you that this floor is slippery. Take care. Watch out as you walk along. So right to a safe environment. That is a key thing. Very good. So at least that is taken care of. So we want to read this question very fast. How many are they online, my friend? 20. Great. Meaning that they are students who paid us and they have chosen to sleep. They have chosen to sleep. The question is November 2018, question number 1. November 2018, question number 1. Metal Processing Limited. I'll have to underline this. If I'm doing an exam, I'll have to always remember the name of the company. Metal Processing Limited. So Metal Processing Limited was formed 10 years ago. An old company. 10 years ago, old company. With the purpose of engaging in business, of buying scrap metal and reprocessing the same to produce a variety of metals. So I know the background of this company. It's a company that was formed 10 years ago. What is its main objective? Its main objective, ladies and gentlemen, is to produce a variety of metals. Thank you very much. The demand of the company's products became instantly popular because they were designed to suit the needs of its different customers. So these are very serious company. It just started 10 years ago, and upon inception, the demand over the company's products here was so high. The company's products became very, very popular. I like this company. It's a company whose shares I will be interested in as an individual. MPL, we are told, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Nepal Holdings Limited. So we have Nepal, and then we have our metal processing limited company there. We are told that Nepal is the parent company. This is a subsidiary which is very special to us, which happens to be 100% in this case here done what here owned. It's a wholly, a full subsidiary of Nepal. Very good. Parent subsidiary relationship. So these are serious relatives. So MPL, we are told, is a wholly owned subsidiary of Nepal Holdings Limited, a company established under a different legal framework from that in which MPL was established. Perhaps they could be in two different countries. That is why the legal frameworks are different. The provisions relating to governance practices in many cases are not similar. For example, NHL Nepal operates under a highly regulated industry, while MPL operates under minimal regulatory controls. This enables MPL to take certain business actions, which for NHL would require prior approval from the regulator. The board of directors of NHL believes that it should exercise full control over the activities of MPL, which has a separate board of directors. Could you kindly underline for us that whole sentence? Kindly underline for us that whole sentence. That is quite key to me. For this question, actually, that is the base. We are told the board of directors of NHL believes that it should exercise full control over the activities of MPL, which has a separate board of directors. Ladies and gentlemen, this company wants to have what they are calling full control. And they want to have full control simply because they own this 100% of this company. It's a subsidiary, a fully owned subsidiary. So they want to control it fully. Ladies and gentlemen, that can never, ever happen. Why? Because these are two different entities. There are two different entities which we have been told have their own board of directors. So there is nothing like this company controlling these 100%. Full control cannot be exercised. Then what is the essence of us having these two companies having their own unique board of directors? It does not make sense. I want to repeat that sentence, and I told you to underline it. The board of directors of the NHL believes that it should exercise full control over the activities of MPL, which has a separate board of directors. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot agree with this. These are two different entities. Two different entities. Remember the case of who? Solomon versus Solomon Company Limited. Company Limited of which year? 1897. A classical case. You can remember the story behind this. I don't want to delve much into it because I know all of us have graduated there. We must have done this paper in section 4, right? Section 4, section 3. I don't even remember very well. Remember, this person went ahead and bought so many ventures from Solomon Company Limited. He gave Solomon Company Limited a loan. After some time, Solomon Company Limited, ladies and gentlemen, wound up. ceased business. When ceased business, of course, winding up is normally a court process. There were other creditors who, in this case here, the company owed. Solomon Company Limited owed. So when these creditors went to court, during liquidation of the company, they made an argument that Solomon is the owner of Solomon Company Limited. And as such, in this case here, they are the same. So in terms of the loan that Solomon had given the company, according to the other creditors of this company, he should not be repaid back. That he should not be given any preference. And that is what, in this case here, formed this concept of a legal entity. That the business and the owners are what here? Different. They are different. Because the judge was able to say, no, Solomon as an individual, that's a different person. If he gave this company money, and this company happens to be different, he has to. So the two entities are different. And because they're different, they have to be managed by different boards, So we continue. We are told the 3 of the directors in MPL and the other 4 directors making up the full board of 7 members of MPL have been appointed from outside the board of NHL. Therefore, NHL as a company does not sit in the board of MPL. In recent times, there have been frequent demands from the board of NHL that the board of NHL pre-approves. Let me repeat that again. In recent times, there have been frequent demands from the board of NHL that the board of NHL pre-approves certain operational actions by MPL. Please underline for me, pre-approves. I mean, how can that take place? These are 2 different companies. And for NHL to come approving our operational actions, ladies and gentlemen, as a metal processing company, I mean, that will be a meddling into our affairs. This includes day-to-day business needs, such as payments to suppliers. No, the board of the MPL feels constrained and limited in implementation of its business strategy, which is completely different from that of NHL. The nature of business of NHL is completely different from that of MPL. We are told one of the areas that has brought repeated misunderstanding between the boards of NHL and MPL is the number of meetings held. The board of NHL insists that good corporate governance practice requires not more than 1 meeting every 3 months. That's a recommendation. Corporate governance, quarterly meetings, only once every quarter. The board of MPL has been holding 2 or more meetings quarterly in order to respond to the many demands of the business. In the process, a not so cordial relationship exists between the 2 boards. Some board members of NHL have been heard complaining openly that the board members of MPL end up earning more in terms of allowances than board members of the NHL, the parent company, earn. In order to address the information gap and the misunderstanding between the 2 boards, a 3-day consultative session has been planned. Obviously, the 3 members seconded by the board of NHL to sit in the board of MPL feel confused. A recent Occupational Safety and Health (OSH) audit revealed that employees of this serious company, Metal Processing Limited, are highly exposed to fatal health hazards. This is an area of concern to the flouting of basic consumer rights. This is an area of concern to the board members of NHL and will be discussed in the consultative meeting. Remember, one of the questions that we read was about this consultative meeting. One of the questions that we read, that is part D, if you remember part D, citing reasons, suggest 4 agenda items to be discussed at the planned 3-day consultative session of the directors of both NHL and MPL, which should lead to shared understanding between the two boards. They've even told us up there. One of these agenda items, we are told in this case here, this is an area of concern to the board members of NHL, and they will be discussed in the consultative meeting. So this concept of occupational safety and health is one of the agenda to be discussed. That's a free mark being given to me. Potential flouting of basic consumer rights and employee rights by MPL could expose the company to legal suits. OSH administrators and consumer rights organizations in cadmium, which build up in biological systems and become a health hazard. This often leads to loss of lives. NHL feels that MPL is not doing much, especially on both consumer and employee safety and health education. The directors of the NHL are convinced that for sustainability reasons and mitigation against legal suits, MPL should adopt the triple bottom line accounting framework as a performance reporting tool. At the same time, the company should act on the recommendations in the OSH audit report in order to avoid putting the lives of its employees at risk. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would want us to start with part B of this question, but it's quite easy. I'll go back to it. Part B of this question. Part B, as the chairman of the board of this parent company called Nepal, NHL, you feel that there has to be clear guidelines on NHL, on how NHL, the holding company, should control its subsidiaries. With reference to the above statement, evaluate 5 broad guidelines your board might formulate. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I would want us to get started by you giving an answer to this simple question. Who is a shadow director? 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 There's a question. The question we are doing for those who have just come in, it's November 2018, question number 1. November 2018, question number 1. If you don't have that past paper, I normally see our representative, Mr. Dennis, sharing past papers on WhatsApp. Perhaps he could do that right now, then you download. November 2018, question number 1. Metal Processing Limited. Metal Processing Limited. Metal Processing Limited. So my curtain raiser is a question to you. Who is a shadow director? Who is a shadow director? This was tested in May 2017. If you go to May 2017, question number 2A. Question number 2A, they wanted the students to define the terms here, a shadow director, a shadow director. It's a curtain raiser, so I expect you to raise the curtain up for me so that I can come and showcase my talent. Any suggestion, any answer there? Not yet. So that is a curtain raising question, or rather our breakfast. Our breakfast. 24 hours, 6 are still sleeping. Okay. There's an answer there. So there is a student. What is the name of the student? Okay, there are 2, 3 now. So I'm being told there by Dan 28. Dan 28 is a person who is not a named director, but controls the organization. So this person is not named as a director, for example, of RCM. If you go to the company's registrar and ask for RCM directors, you will see, for example, Mr. A, Mr. B. But behind the curtains, we have a Mr. C, who is not in that list of directors, but he is so powerful. He's controlling this company from behind the curtains here. That's a shadow director, a shadow, non-existent in the list of directors, but yet this person has got a lot of powers. Thank you very much, Dan. Then we have Fatma, a person who is not a director, thank you very much, but has very strong influence in the decisions of the company. In the decisions of the company. Let us, all of us, if we are writing down, I would want us to write down this definition that Fatma has given us there, and that is why we have to pay this lady. She's like our teacher today. A person who is not a director. A shadow director is a person who is not a director, but has very strong influence in the decisions of the company. So could you kindly then give me examples of shadow directors that you can think of in some of these organizations? Examples. Let me start by giving you a funny example. Assuming, of course, I'm not a director. Assuming I'm the sole director of RCM. Assuming. And then, of course, I'm the only director of RCM. And then also assuming that I'm married, right? Whatever that will be taking place at RCM, chances are we'll have some links with my madam. Of course, for example, when I go home tired, of course, I need somebody, in this case, I can vent. My issues that went on, for example, at the school on a day-to-day basis like that, right? So what I'm trying to imply is that this good madam of mine here is not a real director of what here RCM, but she is pulling some sort of what here strings. So she becomes automatically a shadow director because she's directing this company, of course, in a way that people may not be able to see. But at the end of the day, whatever her thoughts are, whatever she desires, might find her way at RCM. That is just an example to show you that we have somebody at the back who is boxing the operations without everyone else knowing, but that person is there. So I'm now expecting a real example from you, great students of mine, of shadow directors that you know of. Any suggestion? Majority shareholder, who is that? Fatma, yeah. A majority shareholder automatically, even if he doesn't sit at the board, this person becomes a shadow director. Because at the AGM, this person will be able to influence decisions. At the AGM, this person's just one hand like this will make some directors go home. So this person has to be respected. The person is a shadow what here? Director. Any other suggestion? Not yet. I'm waiting. Actually, today's class seems to be your class. Shadow director examples. Shadow director examples. Shadow director examples. There is one that I expect someone to get. One good example, which is over. If you look at your past papers, it is there. A shadow director. By the way, remember, a shadow director does not have to be a person per se. It's either a person or a limited or a company. Or a company. Like Nepal happens to be a shadow director of Metal Processing Limited. So the other very good example of a shadow director is a parent company. A parent company is a shadow director of a subsidiary. Because at the end of the day, this parent company will have what here? Automatically, the parent company, ladies and gentlemen, will have a say over the decision-making process of the subsidiary, even if it's indirect. So, but remember, this parent company also falls under what we call a majority shareholder. Majority shareholder. Ah, very good. Let's go back to our question. So part B, we said we are starting with part B. As the chairman of the board of NHL, you feel that there has to be clear guidelines on how NHL, the holding company, should control its subsidiaries. With reference to the above statement, evaluate 5 broad guidelines your board might do what here? Formulate. Your board might formulate. So we have Nepal. So we have Nepal here. We have our metal processing MPL here. So we have the chairman of the board. So the chairman of the board has seen that the 2 boards here are not working in harmony. They're not working in harmony. The board members here are complaining that these guys are overpaying themselves. The board members over here, they're complaining that these guys here are doing what here they're attending so many meetings in every quarter, etc. So what are some of the key guidelines that we need to think about as the board, or rather as the chairman of the parent company, to ensure that these companies' operations are geared towards the group objectives, to ensure that the subsidiaries' interests, ladies and gentlemen, are congruent. They are congruent or in agreement with the parents' interests. So what are some of the guidelines? Ladies and gentlemen, remember that this is quite similar to the functions of management. Remember, we are simply providing oversight. These people have their own board. Even though it's our company, this company is independent of us. But being the parent, we can only oversight. We can only offer oversight. So we are looking at the general functions of management, which should be able to help us, ladies and gentlemen, have our subsidiary thinking like ourselves. So if you remember the 5 functions of management, as they were told to us by Henry Fayol. Henry Fayol is the one who spoke of 5 functions of management as pork, not the pork that Muslim don't like, the one that they think, or rather they take to be evil. No, this pork of P-O-W-T-R-C. That any serious management, ladies and gentlemen, must be involved in planning of the company's activities. We have here organizing. I hope you're taking your few notes there. Organizing. We have, ladies and gentlemen, controlling. We have here coordination. Then we have what we call communication. Communication. So remember, what have we said? The parent company can only think about oversight, kind of advisory. Why? Because this is a company that has been registered. So it's an independent entity. Ours is oversight, and as we are doing oversight, we must ensure that this company is able to embrace corporate governance fully, is able to embrace corporate governance fully. So for us to be able to take control in a legal way of this company, of this subsidiary of ours, simply ensure that the company operates under the tenets of corporate governance. And of course, tenets of corporate governance, in this case here, we have the concept of what here? Leadership. Leadership, if you recall, we have the concept of, so if you want to control, if we want to control the subsidiary, the first guideline, mentioned there, the first guideline, number one, a guideline for voting control. For voting control. A guideline for voting what here? Control. For voting control. Remember, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, it is the owners of the company who are able to choose the leaders. So under voting control, Nepal, we are writing there, under voting control, Nepal should ensure that the right to vote, is very well captured in the articles and the memorandum of association of MPL. Memorandum of Association of MPL. Remember, the voting control, ladies and gentlemen, it is the majority shareholders who have a say. So tell us there, i.e., most of the directors of MPL, will be voted for Nepal, will be voted for by Nepal, since Nepal is the majority shareholder. Please let us read this question and understand it very well. We read this question and understand it very well. If you look at this question, part B, as the chairman of the board of the NHL, you feel that there has to be clear guidelines on how NHL, the holding company, should control its subsidiaries. With reference to the above statement, evaluate 5 broad guidelines your board might do what here? Formulate. The key word is that the holding company should control. How do we take control over our subsidiary? By ensuring that our subsidiary's board has the members we want, to sit in that board. And we can only have most of the members we want sitting in that board if there is what we call a voting control. Voting being enshrined there. Voting. So we need a clear guideline on this, a clear guideline on that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember as we talk about this, what have we said? We can only be able to control our subsidiary if this subsidiary operates under corporate governance principles. If this subsidiary, for instance, is very transparent, if this subsidiary has got good leaders, so given that MPL, we have just acquired it, we need to give it good leaders. So ensure that we are the ones who should be able to provide the majority vote, because this is what here our company, and because it's our company, and given that we need the very best out of it, we shall be able to elect the very best directors to sit on that board. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the other thing that I would want, of course, in this case here, is the concept of what here? Transparency. Transparency can only come in handy if there is proper what here? Communication. If there is proper communication. So this is the second one. Under this, there should be a guideline on financial reporting. That is in line with the parents reporting structure. The parents reporting what here? Structure. Remember the parent here is Nepal. So you simply go and tell MPL, Metal Processing Company, that we don't want to interfere with your operation. But you see, at the end of the day, in our jurisdiction, which is Kenya, we are required to come up with what we call consolidated financial statements. And that is why you guys must employ, even if you're in India or whichever country, you must employ an accountant who knows this concept of IFRS. So by them making financial statements which are in line with what you are doing, you'll be having control over them in a legal way. You'll be having control over them in a legal way. You'll be having control over them in a legal way. Number three, we are looking at those guidelines that we can come up with, ladies and gentlemen, to ensure that we shall have a control of our subsidiary legally, despite these two companies being what here? Being different. Despite the companies being different. So we have, ladies and gentlemen, there, number three, I would need a guideline. I would need a guideline for risk control. So as a good student of strategy, governance, and ethics, when I'm answering these kind of questions, remember this is a management paper. I'm trying to connect two things here. I'm trying to connect the principles of management vis-a-vis what here? Corporate governance principles. Remember the concept here is what here? POC. That if you don't want your operations here to go wrong as an entity, ensure that you have got this POC thing. POC. And among the POC, we have a key concept of what here? Control. And how do we ensure that our operations are in control, moving towards achieving our objectives, is to ensure that we have a risk management framework. Risk management framework, that is one of those important, very important what here? Pillars of corporate governance. So risk control. So in this case here, we are supposed to know the risk. There are so many risks. That this subsidiary, ladies and gentlemen, or rather will be exposed, the parent company, in terms of image, goodwill to be lost. Remember, for example, we have been told that they have safety issues. This metal company, our subsidiary, has got issues, occupational health issues. So we need a guideline for risk control. When the subsidiary gives a risk control framework, how they're controlling their risks, automatically that will be a very good way of the parent company doing what you're managing the company indirectly. So by defining this, risk control. We expect in this case, ladies and gentlemen, to control this company indirectly. Let us read the question. A good student always reads an SG question severally. Myself, I don't read these questions here once and then I start tackling them. No, I'll always go back the requirement many times. We are told in part B, as the chairman of the board of the NHL, you feel that there has to be a clear guideline on how NHL, the holding company, should control its subsidiaries. Control its subsidiaries. For now, we only are aware of one subsidiary. So control this metal company. With reference to the above statement, evaluate 5 broad guidelines. 5 broad guidelines your board might do what here? Formulate. So for us to be able to control this subsidiary indirectly, one of the things we need to do is to ensure that this company has got a framework for controlling what here? Risk. For controlling risk. Once they have that, of course, there will be those reports, risk reports, that they will be giving back to the parent company. The moment they do that, then we will be controlling them indirectly. So we continue, ladies and gentlemen. We have here straight away guideline number 4. We have here guideline for business plans. Guideline for business plans, stroke goals. So remember, still under planning, ladies and gentlemen, or rather under management principles, we have the POC. So we would want these people here to give us their plans. So we are saying that Nepal would insist on receiving perhaps budgets and the strategic plans from the subsidiary, which is metal processing company. The moment we tell these people, even if they are not giving them to us, we tell them, you people, we are embracing corporate governance 100%. And your plans, your budget, your strategic plans must be uploaded on your website. Give information. So the moment they do that, then we will be controlling them. We shall be controlling them. So that's number 4, and I hope you guys are taking your notes. Because one thing that I like about these case questions, all of them are almost similar. You can predict the kind of case questions that this guy will bring in your exams. They are very similar. Because I know if they don't bring this concept of corporate governance, in most cases they will bring what here? Like family businesses, etc. So from there, I will talk about guidelines. Number 5, we have here guidelines for what here? Designations, and authority. Remember, I'm doing all this in light of 2 sets of 2 principles. We have the principles of management and the principles of corporate what here? Governance. The principles of management, as given to us by Fayol, we are looking at what we call POC like that. So when we talk of authority, we are looking at the organizing function, basically organizing and even coordination, the coordinating function. So under guidelines for designations and authorities, ladies and gentlemen, we are saying there that Nepal, the parent, will insist on a working organizational structure, and of course they will ensure that they plant those board members that they voted for to go and sit in the subsidiaries on top of these hierarchies. So we are the ones who are running the show, but in a shadowy way, right? So guidelines for designation and authority, the parent would insist on a working organizational structure and ensure, especially at the apex, the board level, the parent company is able to put men and women of integrity. People are very hardworking up there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we can also talk over number 5 or number 6. Guidelines over CSR. Guidelines over corporate social welfare responsibilities. So under these, ladies and gentlemen, Nepal, the parent company would insist on social activities being carried out by MPL, the metal company. So in short, they will insist that metal company works on its people and what here? The planet, people on the planet. Yeah, they will raise an issue that, for example, your employees are complaining, and yet you are a successful company, right? So the moment these employees realize that there is a parent over there who is able to fight for our rights, automatically that will be a great way of pulling strings behind there. Remember, the parent company is a shadow director. So what are we saying as we wind up? I've been looking at this from these particular principles, POC. The key one being what here? The communications. We have under budgets, we have the concept of insisting on plans. Organizing, we have that structure. Communication, remember communication, even the concept of you writing the budgets and giving them. That's communication. That is transparency. Financial statements, giving them. That's transparency. The question, I'm reading the question for the very last time, as you know, as we mark this SG, I've marked SG separately, because I normally like getting, okay. CSR in full is corporate social responsibility. Thank you very much. So I was trying to say here, I like marking this because I want exposure to be exposed in these big or other operations of these big companies. So normally, students of the SG keep on saying that this paper was very easy, but I failed. But to tell you the truth, most of the SG students normally get off the road. Yes, they will be having coherence in terms of their answers, but they are answering questions that they have not been asked by examiners. And that is why as you answer, as you put down your answer, ensure that you go back to your question and read it severally. So before I move on to something different, I would want to read part B of this question for the very last time. As a chairman of the board of NHL, you feel that there has to be clear guidelines on how NHL, the holding company, should control its subsidiary, MPL. With reference to the above statement, evaluate 5 broad guidelines your board might formulate. Very, very important. Let's go to part A. Part A, they want us to explain 6 reasons which could have led to NHL to invest in this company. So basically, we have here, they're asking us to give them advantages of mergers and who? Acquisitions. Advantages of mergers and acquisitions. Now, if, for example, RCM wants to grow and grow quite fast, what do you think should we do to be able to grow very fast? Among the things that we need to do, ladies and gentlemen, instead of going, for example, to like Uganda, and we start establishing a branch of RCM in Uganda, it will be something very new. It will take time for people over there to understand it. So to penetrate this particular new segment, new market as RCM in Uganda, perhaps what we could do is to look for a small college over there. We acquire it. So maybe this could be Uganda College of whatever, Commerce, right? After acquiring Uganda College of Commerce, now we will go slowly introducing the RCM brand. Just like the way you saw Barclays Bank being acquired. So, you know, it took about 5 years for Barclays Bank to change to ABSA. It was a gradual process. So we had a South African company acquiring Barclays brand here, and then they went straight, slowly, until now, members of the Republic were able to appreciate ABSA as a brand. And remember even how they were introducing this ABSA as a brand, like now in Uganda, you know, Uganda, they did change the name in Uganda to ABSA about 2 years ago. So it was a gradual process. So what are some of these advantages that you guys are aware of acquisition as opposed to starting your own business from scratch? Could you kindly give me 3 advantages of mergers and acquisitions? Any 3? Any 3? Any 3? I'm waiting for you to write there in the comment section. Any 3? Any 3? Any 3? I'm patiently waiting. Yes. Very good. This is Aurelia. Aurelia is saying that the moment you go for an acquisition, like now look at this company MPL, it had been in existence for over 10 years. So meaning that over those 10 years, yeah, they must have made their own mistakes. They learned through the system. And they were able here to even training of their staff. So the staff over there must be very competent. So the moment I acquire this particular company, I'm acquiring it with its competent staff. Yes, I like that. Any other? Mary, synergy. Synergy. I like synergy. Synergy, ladies and gentlemen, synergy, we are looking at 1 plus what here? 1 plus 1 equals what here? Equals 3. So we take one company plus another company. If they're working very well coherently, if this acquisition goes on without any hitches, we expect the productivity to be more than 100%. You know, 1 plus 1 should be equal to 2. But once we work together, we merge in a very good way, we expect, ladies and gentlemen, to have a greater output, greater productivity. Yeah? Portfolio diversification from Caroline. Portfolio diversification, yes. Portfolio diversification. Portfolio diversification. Portfolio diversification. That here we are diversifying. Diversifying into different markets. Diversifying into different products. So when you talk about diversification, remember the major concept here is that we diversify because of what? Risk minimization. So we want to reduce risk. So risk what here? Minimization. Risk minimization. And that is why we are told in this question that NHL went for MPL, which is in a different industry, making metals, different industry. When we go to different industry, when the acquisition is an acquisition of a company which is a different industry, we are basically forming what we call a conglomerate. A conglomerate. We are forming what we call a conglomerate. A conglomerate. A conglomerate. We have got what we call vertical acquisitions. We have horizontal acquisitions, and then we have conglomerates. That question of acquisitions features prominently in your SGE. So we have vertical. If you can recall very well, vertical, under vertical acquisitions like this. If A acquires B, like that, that becomes a vertical acquisition. For vertical acquisitions, companies acquire their suppliers. Under vertical acquisitions, companies acquire their suppliers. Companies acquire their suppliers. So if, for example, it's a car manufacturing company which acquires a tire manufacturing company, then that acquisition will be called what? Your vertical. Will be called vertical. And then we have, ladies and gentlemen, we have the horizontal one is when we have A, we have here, for example, rather, yes, A, we have B. If we have these two companies being on the same line of business, same industry, like for example, we have here RCM, and then we have, for example, Summit Institute. If, for example, RCM was to acquire Summit, then that automatically will be a horizontal what? Acquisition. A horizontal acquisition. So for horizontal acquisitions, here we have competitors coming together. But what if, for example, RCM was to become very powerful, and then it buys Panari Hotel. If we buy Panari Hotel, then straight away this will be a conglomerate. Because I mean, these are two companies which are in two different lines of businesses. So here, NHL acquired MPL, which is in a different line of business, which is a very good way of diversification, a very good way of forming a portfolio. So if I'm the one doing this kind of a question, I even have to mention the word conglomerate. That's how you scare the examiner. That's how you demonstrate broad and deep understanding of the subject. Yes, I'm still taking your points, ladies and gentlemen. I'm expecting to get more points. What are some of the advantages that you guys are aware of? Market penetration. Thank you very much. What is the name of that student? Okiri, yes. So market penetration. Ladies and gentlemen, especially going outside there, in different countries, starting your own business in a different country can prove to be very hectic. How do you get consumers over there? How do you even get people to work for you? Right? So if you want to penetrate a market in a different jurisdiction very well, what you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is simply to acquire a company in that country, and you'll be able to penetrate the market. And that is why when you see like now these multinational hotels coming to Kenya, very few of them are able to come with their brand directly. Most of them will come and acquire smaller brands here, and then they do what here? They grow their brands. Look at, for example, this multi-billionaire who has entered schools industry. The one who owns now Brook House. The one who was able to tell some parents who had taken him to court just the other day off. Right? You know that guy, given even what he has constructed at Runda, if you have ever seen the Runda Brook House, that is quite a big thing. He's a guy who had the capacity of starting his own school, his own brand here in Kenya, but he must have looked at how will I be able to get customers? So if you want to penetrate the market, yes, acquisition, ladies and gentlemen, happens to be a very, very clear-cut strategy for you. Right? Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your answers. But you see, those answers are the kind of answers that you normally write, and that is why, as an examiner of SG, I'll always keep on marking so many of you wrong. Because you know, this is a case question. For a case question, you need as much as possible to relate whatever you are telling us with the subjects in the question. So you need to be talking about Nepal. You need to be talking about what here? The MPL. So like now, market penetration. I expect Wanokiri now, you to take the ball a little bit higher. I want you to hit the ball a little bit higher. And as you write your comments now, henceforth, try to relate your particular point with our case question. If you want to get full marks, out of 2 marks, if you want to get 2 marks, please write your point and try. It doesn't matter how you connect, so long as I'm able to see Nepal, I'm able to see MPL, I'll be able to give you full marks. So I want to get more points from you, but I would want the points that are coming now to be points that are showing some connection with our case question. Please continue. Risk reduction from who? From Dan. That is very good. Thank you very much, Dan. But I want you to talk about risk reduction now in the context of Nepal, in the context of my company, the other company, MPL. Even if it's just mentioning one company there. Don't fear, there is something that I would want to train you, because I don't want to teach students who are going to fail. No. Waiting, please don't fear anything, just throw a comment there. Throw a comment there, throw a comment over there. Throw a comment over there. Throw a comment over there, throw a comment over there. Any comments so far? I'll give you a minute. Just try to think hard. Try to think hard. So, Beryl, reduced costs for NPL because a subsidiary, MPL, has a framework in place. I like that. I like that. Ladies and gentlemen, this lady is telling us that the moment we go for this kind of an acquisition, there will be the cost of savings, because already this company called MPL has things on the ground. It has got licenses. It has a framework. The structures are there. So that kind of a point, I'll give you 2 marks because I can see you've mentioned the company and you have been able to, my companies have been able to relate with the case question very well. Any other? So remember, the one of Beryl, you can make it also much better by talking about cost savings and time savings. Time savings. For those of you who have ever started businesses from scratch, you know how time consuming starting a business from scratch is. Veronica, synergy, demand for MPL products is popular. Therefore, they will be able to meet what here, ladies and gentlemen, synergy. What this good lady is telling us is that already MPL, down there we were told that their products in this case here became very popular. They are very popular. So the moment we have now the parent, Nepal, holding hands with this, we shall be able to enjoy synergies straight away. Synergies straight away. So we have here, Aurelia, new market entry, barriers. Thank you very much. NPL is investing into a foreign country where regulations are different. Acquiring MPL, which is already licensed in its mother country, makes entry of NPL quite easy. quite easy. Kama si vile mwezi kokona, Aurelie angepata zawadi leo. Aurelie angepata zawadi leo. That is very good. She has been able to connect with my case question very well. My case question very well. And also, whenever you talk of, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you talk about this synergy, the synergy basically we're looking at improved profits, which will come out of these companies coming together. Whenever you talk of synergy, never ever forget to talk about what here, the concept of tax savings through number one, transfer pricing. Number two, in this case here, absorption of losses of subsidiary. Even if you have not been told that the subsidiary has what here, a loss, just come and tell us, given, ladies and gentlemen, that these are two companies which are in two different what here countries. There is a way we can hide our supernormal profits in countries whose tax regimes are favorable. That is why you'll get all these big companies, talk of Kenya breweries, talk of even Safaricom. You realize that they have got branches in tax havens. Like if you were to look at the organizational structure of Safaricom, you'll be surprised. Even their management, you'll be surprised even their management board. Perhaps in this case, here sits at Seychelles. You'll be surprised. So that whenever they make huge profits here, they don't declare all the profits here. They look for a way of transferring some money to these tax havens. Right? So please never forget this. This will demonstrate that you really understand. Any other point before we close this chapter? Not yet. Students now are quite tired. So remember, the key thing here, we've talked about access to new markets, obtaining easier access to skilled labor force. Like under skilled labor force, we are told this MPL is in a very unique industry. It's an industry, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps where getting even labor workers or rather may not be that easy. So the moment we acquire a company which is already in existence, then we are putting ourselves at a better pedestal. We have portfolio diversification that we have been able to bring it very well. We have cost and time savings. We have brand recognition. That the moment I acquire this MPL, which has been in existence for over 10 years, it's a brand in that country. Remember, building a brand, ladies and gentlemen, is not an easy thing. Companies pay millions. Look at, for example, the owner of the INEOS. Spelling of INEOS? The owner of this guy who had done the INEOS challenge, INEOS challenge. Remember that INEOS challenge? That particular gentleman, right? Look at the investment that he made for that particular brand, ladies and gentlemen, for that particular brand, really to be recognized that much. So let us be riding on the brands, Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. In case we have other points, we should be able to mention them in our, yes, thank you very much. We should be able to mention them in our WhatsApp. Let's go to part C. Part C. Comment on the observations made, part C of this question. Comment on the observations made by some directors of NHL that the directors of MPL, a subsidiary company, are earning more in allowances than those of the parent company. So we have our company here is called Nepal, the mother. And then we have, in this case, ladies and gentlemen, MPL, Metal, MPL, which is our subsidiary. And then we are told that the directors here are earning more are earning more than directors of the parent. So I would want to ask you, great students of mine, a question. Is that fair to have directors of your subsidiary earning more than directors of the parent company? Is it fair? In those comments. Let me rephrase my question. We have, ladies and gentlemen, a situation where directors of our subsidiary company are earning more than us, we directors of the mother company, of the parent company. Is that fair? Motivation? No, no. And I really agree with your reasoning. Why? Because we are the parent. Why should we have directors over our subsidiary earning more than us, honestly? There are several answers. There are several answers. So we have Aurelia. The remuneration should be commensurate with the returns. Perhaps the subsidiary is making more money than the parent company, right? Then why should you deny the owners? Why should you deny the directors of the subsidiary more remuneration, and yet remuneration should be pegged on performance? I like that reasoning. Not fair, since they all perform the same duties. No. They're not performing the same duties. These are companies which are in different, even countries, doing different things. These guys here are handling metals. These other guys here, the parent company, are not even told what they're handling, right? So they're not really doing the same duties. No. Yes, they are contributing more income. Carolina, if Carol, you are saying they are contributing more income, in the case question, is there a place they have told us that MPL is contributing more income than? Just go, you have to justify that. You must justify that. Depending with their activities, I like that, but I wish, Shindia, you could, you know, like there is a place there where we've been told that because of the nature of the activities of the subsidiary, the directors of metal processing, the directors of MPL, they have to meet more often. So remember, board allowances in most cases are pegged on number of what-year meetings. So if these guys are meeting more times than us, why should we feel bad when it comes to them getting their money? Done. No, Nepal should recognize that MPL should be treated as a separate legal entity. They are separate, right? And because of them being separate, that is why when their earnings of these directors are different. But the bone of contention here is, why are the directors of the smaller company subsidiary, why are they the ones earning more? Caroline, no. Ladies and gentlemen, it's like, let me just try to put this in the context of our families. Is it wrong to have, in this case, if you're a man, your wife earning more than you? Is it wrong for you to have your wife earning more than you? Is it wrong to have your wife earning more than you? If, for example, you decide as a man to sleep the whole day, you sleep the whole day as your lady is working, she'll get more money than you. If, for example, your lady here is more learned than you, she'll get more money than you, and you should not feel bad. Ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing wrong in having your subsidiary earning more than you. And this question has been repeated severally. Before I answer that, please, let's look at, if you have your past papers there, look at May 2017, question number 4A. 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 May 2017, May 2017, question number 4A. question number 4A. We are told corporate governance holds that as a good practice, directors should be adequately remunerated. With reference to the above statement, explain 5 aspects covered in the board remuneration framework. And that is why I was able to send you the board remuneration framework of Safaricom. I've sent it to your WhatsApp. Please go through it. So they're asking us to give them 5 aspects covered in the board remuneration framework. Why will get Director A earning more than Director B, and yet all of them are in the same board. So if you recall those things, there are 5 of them. There are 5 actually, there are 5 of them. Number 1, of course, we have the roles of the directors. And that is why the appointment and remuneration committee must always give a contract letter to the directors where we specify what we expect of them and of course what we shall pay them. So the roles. We have, ladies and gentlemen, number of meetings. Number of meetings, of course, is commensurate to the time these guys here they spend in the organization. There are those directors, ladies and gentlemen, because of the nature of their work, they'll be coming more often than others. We have what we call level of what here? Qualifications and experience. When you bring like this brother of Moody Awori, there is Moody Awori's brother who is so common outside here. It's like he has magic. Once you bring him to your board, automatically everything transforms. He's a board member of 27 countries, 27 companies, I mean. Such a guy, you can't bring him on your board and you expect him to get the same amount that Aura gets. Right? So we've spoken about roles. We've spoken about experiences and what here? Experiences and education stroke professional levels. We have additional responsibilities. Additional responsibilities is a key aspect which defines how much a director will earn. So I came in as an executive director, but you guys have realized that I'm so good in taxation. So you give me to check on the taxes of the company and of course represent maybe the company over some matter at KRA. You can't tell me that I'm just a normal director that I should be earning the exact amount like the other people know. So additional responsibilities. And then we have the concept, remember at the end of the day, each board has to be done what year evaluated. So we have the board what year performance, the board performance, or even company's performance. Remember, if you recall, the remuneration of directors has to be linked with how a company performs. A company that is performing very well like MPL, we expect the directors there to earn much more, So let's get back to our question, ladies and gentlemen. Our question here wanted us to give them part C. Our question, part C, they wanted us to comment on the observations made by some directors of NHL, the directors of MPL, a subsidiary company, are earning more in allowances than those of the parent company. Actually, we have spoken about many of them. Perhaps I could just go through them very fast. Now, number one, or rather, I'll even introduce this thing that I'll introduce it this way, that we don't expect, of course, we don't expect the members of the boards, of the two boards, to earn equal or the same, to earn the same amounts, because number one, ladies and gentlemen, number one, the two companies, that is NHL and MPL, are operating in different jurisdictions here. jurisdictions. We are even told that one of these companies, which is, I think, NHL, is operating in an industry that is highly regulated. Like banks. Banks directors cannot just wake up and pay themselves whatever they want, like suppose your SASA. So if that is the case, then those directors over there are disadvantaged. Then they'll have to receive, in this case, some standard fees. But the other one, this other company here is not, or rather is in an industry which is not highly regulated. So long as they're able to perform very well, then we expect, ladies and gentlemen, the directors of the two companies to earn different amounts. Number two, they can't earn the same amounts because these are two different entities. So you're saying that the NHL and the MPL are different legal entities, which have a right of making their own decisions, of making their own decisions. We have number three, number of meetings. That the MPL directors must meet often because their business is special. Their business is very special. I've been told in the case question. Their business is special in nature. And because they have to be meeting more often than the other directors, allowances are pegged on number. So therefore, they must earn more. More. Please give me another point yourselves. Okay. So give me another point yourselves. Okay. So we have the concept of what here? Differences in board's contributions. And the commitments. Very good. I like what Mary is telling us there. The experience of the directors, the experiences, qualifications of these directors may not be the same. But remember, please, in every point you give us, remember to slot in the name of what here? The companies. That is how you make your argument to be very, very authentic. Now from there, if you allow me, I'll go to part D of this question. Citing reasons suggests 4 agenda items to be discussed at the planned 3-day consultative session of the directors of both NHL and MPL, which should lead to shared understanding between the two boards. They had given us some points themselves up there, which are supposed to be discussed. Actually, they had given us 2 points. So you're supposed to think of the others. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing that should be on the table for us to have the two boards working in harmony, the first thing that should be on the table will be the board allowances. The board allowances through number of what-year meetings, where we shall require, so in this case here, NHL, or rather MPL, directors will be required to justify, their earnings, and of course why they need many meetings. So this will bring an understanding at the two boards. The board of the parent company will be able to understand why these people need more meetings. Perhaps because they're dealing with metals which are coming in various forms, they need to have engineers at the board level. Their level of qualification, of course, now will be much higher, perhaps compared to etc., where they need to meet OPEC, etc. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the other agenda that has to be there, agenda 2 will be risk control, and the management, risk control and the management. Remember, MPL does not want to taint its image. It has been in business for long, and that is why, not MPL, NHL, the parent, Nepal has been in business for long, and that is why they have been able to afford to buy MPL. And as such, they don't want to get into an arrangement that may taint their image, So we must have an agenda on risk control. Ladies and gentlemen, from there are these are the agenda which they gave us themselves in the question. If you remember in the question, there are two agendas they gave us there. Yeah, I can just write them straight away. Like we have number 3, we have here the occupational. They told us that this has to be discussed. The occupational, and the environmental, health and safety. This is an area of concern, especially to the parent company, because we've been told that the employees are not working in a very safe environment. The consumers on the other side are saying that the products they are buying are not healthy, etc. Now, the last one, ladies and gentlemen, the last one there, you know, we are talking about, ladies and gentlemen, the employees and who? Consumer rights. And of course, all the other agenda regarding to corporate governance can also be discussed. You can discuss budgets, you can discuss the company's structure, etc. So now the last one, I need you to take like 2 minutes. You give me the answer to part D. Take 2 minutes, give me the answers very fast. Part E, I mean. 3 categories of triple bottom line. I discussed it. I would want to take 2 minutes, and you give me the answer. Give me the answer there. Yes. We have price. No. Price, no. we have done People Planet. So we have the three of them, the triple, the triple, bottom line measures, measures. The first one was profit, right? That was the original, the traditional one, profit. And then number two, we have people. And then number three, we have, in this case here, our planet there, 3 P's. These are also called the 3 P's. They're also called the 3 P's like that. 3 P's. That if you want your company to outlive you, if you want all the stakeholders here to be happy, take care of these 3 P's and ensure that the company is profitable. Try to diversify in terms of operations, in terms of risk. So like in this case here, in profitability, we are seeing that Nepal, the parent is growing, and that is why it has acquired, is growing. It has acquired MPL, a company whose products are in high demand. So we expect the company's profitability to do what? To increase. There they are doing very well. How about people? Remember people, this is the employee's perspective. And I told you, I remember some time back, that this thing of saying that it is the consumers who are the king, the customers who are the king, is really fizzling out. Nowadays, people have come back to the employee being the king. They are meant to take care of the employee very well. They take care of what here, they'll take care of your customers. So under people, we are told here that we are told, especially for MPL, that employees are doing what here? Complaining. Employees are complaining, which is not very good. Employees are complaining. They are not working in a very safe environment. They are not working in a safe environment. They have told us in the case question. If you look at, for example, Safaricom, the way Safaricom has presented their triple P, you'll be able to see there. They're saying, for example, last year, they did a survey of their employees, and 95% say that they are very happy with their employer. 95%, even if they're exaggerating, that is quite a very high number, quite a good number. So the people perspective. So employees, are we fair to them? Are we fair even to the consumers? Like here, you're being told that the consumers are also complaining. They're also complaining. How about the planet? Planet, we are looking at things like energy. Are we using energy sources that reduce carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, the carbon emissions? Remember, energy sources which are able to reduce carbon emissions are these natural ones like solar, etc. Of course, they haven't told us this. So water consumption. If you look at, for example, Safaricom, ladies and gentlemen, they will tell you that last year we used this amount of water, costing this amount, and they've been able to reduce the same by this amount in etc. The same case with electricity. Like you can see, they spent some 2 million some time back, which went down electricity. So when it goes down like that, you will see in the footnotes them talking about what they did to have this kind of electricity bill going down. They must have embraced the solar energy, etc. Now, for the planet, like now here, there is a place that MPL is missing. There is a place where we've been told that they're producing some metals which are able to produce some bad chemicals which affect our earth, etc. Remember, in terms of this triple P, these profits normally appear in the face of the financial statements. And then we have these other 2 P's always appearing on the footnotes of the financial statements. Like Safaricom will tell you that out of whatever revenues they get, 35% of their revenues will always go to the employees. 35% of their revenues will always go to their employees. For example, Planet here, we are looking at the CSR, so many things. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are able to do this very well, then you'll be able to pass your case question very, very easily, very, very easily. So because of time, another session is supposed to be picking up at exactly 9. I would want to take this opportunity to remind you that we are selling these books, the RCM's revision kits. You need them. You need them. I'm so sure they will be able to assist us very well. Is there anybody who has got a parting question? So as I wait for your questions, I've sent you like 3 things on your WhatsApp. Like I've sent you the entire chapter of what here? Ethics. Ethics. I expect you to go and read that chapter very well. Then I've sent you some document on ERM, the Enterprise Risk Management. I've sent you a document on corporate governance or Safaricom, which I expect you guys to read intensively, because as I always keep on telling you, we are not teaching you just for the sake of exams. Like the moment you understand the corporate governance of Safaricom very well, I'm so sure you'll make a very good CEO yourself very soon. Otherwise, I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much and wish you a good Sunday. How much per book? One book is 1,100. And I would want to give you an offer that somebody, for example, buys our book, like this revision book. If you buy a revision book, we give you 3 live sessions, class sessions for free. If you buy a book like this, I'll talk to Dennis, our coordinator, to ensure that anybody who buys our book like this, he gets 3 live classes for free. Where can we buy them? To buy them, you simply need to call this number 0719 525,000. Place your orders. We shall be able to bring these books here to wherever you are. Okay. So timely sharing of meeting IDs, that we will take care of. Sorry for that. Niliandika sita or consumer rights. That one I can answer this after I've seen what you have written maybe on WhatsApp. I'll be able to give you the other right. I want to imagine it's the health, the right to health. That you can't sell your consumers poison. It will be taken in. Please ensure that the meeting IDs are sent on time. Today, I almost missed the class. We are sorry for that. We shall be able to send them on time. Like the one for management accounting, we shall send it right away. Yeah, right to satisfaction, information, choice, representation, education. She means a question. Question E, we are done. When we started the question, we started by doing this. Perhaps this is a student who missed out because maybe we sent the ID late. Thank you very much, and I want to hope that the class has been informative. I hope I've not wasted anybody's time in this session. Thank you.